good morning.
Good morning.
Happy
Welcome.
Monday.
I mean, if you must make it a happy Monday, today's as good a Monday as any. Uh,
Hey, do your best.
I mean, do your
Coffee
best.
helps.
I mean, it does, depending on the weekend that you've had. I think I pulled a lot of weeds this weekend, and I got a lot of paintings that I sold shipped. I really hope I can. I really hope I can deliver on that.
You hope when you listen to this
I
later on
hope
Monday
when yeah
that's
that
true.
that 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 actually
Let's
did
get
happen.
put it
Humphrey
out in the
is here.
universe.
Yeah, Humphrey is here.
Yeah,
He's
hang on.
our guest host. Or not. No, she's like, goodbye.
2 seconds in, I can't catch a break with him
I
today.
mean, it's a Monday morning. All right, guys, welcome
All
to
right,
this
it is a
week's
Monday. There you go.
snack size episode. It is Laura's turn. We did fail to put one out last Monday. We were both out of town, and we suck as a result. So, Laura, give us your weird story. I'm excited.
All right, so my weird story for this week is about the Mad. I'm going to tell you about the Mad Hatters.
Oh, shit, really?
The
Ooh,
origin of how that all came to be.
yes, let's do it. Cool. Okay, I love it.
Yeah, okay. So my references are lazyhistorian.com and corrosion-doctors.org.
All right, great. Also, guys, by the
All right.
way, on our regular episodes, we will put up our sources on that little black bar that you always see. But because Laura and I never know what we're doing, it's always a surprise. I don't have her sources. There's no sources. She's just saying her sources. So that's why there isn't that like up there for the
Yeah,
viewers.
on
So
the YouTube, there's no like pop
yeah,
up. There you
yeah.
go.
So anyway, all
Um,
right, Mad Hatters,
all right.
go. This is cool.
So Lewis Carroll's 1865 novel Alice's Adventures in Wonderland famously features an eccentric character called the Hatter, who's referred to in the story as Mad and became popularly known as the Mad Hatter. However, the phrase mad as a hatter, used to describe someone who's crazy or prone to unpredictable behavior, didn't originate with Carroll. Instead, the expression is linked to the hat making process industry and mercury poisoning. It
No.
turns out that the process that was being used to make hats poisoned them and drove them insane.
All right, and that is
So,
her story. Happy Monday, guys. We'll see
and
you
that's the
next.
end. Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
I was going to give you a little bit of background.
I mean, these are short, quick
So,
stories.
right. In the late 1500s in Europe, tall hats became the fashion. The caputin, commonly worn by both men and women, was usually black. Width and height varied with time, but the vertical proportion usually was more conical toward the top, and the size of the hat usually curved into the top rather than ending in a sharp edge, like the top hat that we know today.
Okay.
Um, so think of the Puritans, like Thanksgiving hats.
Oh,
Those
okay.
are the Capitans. Um, yeah, they're associated so much with the Puritans. um, right. So those hats eventually went out of style. I know, it's just
Thank
so
God.
funny. Like, that's the Capitan.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, they went out of style. They later kind of made a reappearance as an early form of the top hat in the late 1700s. Its popularity was probably helped along by Beau Brummel, friend and personal stylist to Prince George, the future George IV. Brummel
Oh,
is credited with several different men's fashion, including the modern suit and necktie.
okay. Oh, okay. So that's why in the Billy Joel song, he says you could really be a Beau Brummel baby if you just give it half a chance. That's
Yep.
why. Okay. Cool.
Wow, you
I
really know
was,
your Billy Joel.
I mean, I love him.
You really do.
I really
All
love
right,
him.
so
Yeah, sorry.
the top hat still remains a symbol of the 1800s today. They were worn by men of all classes. The tall stovepipe top hat was immensely popular during the first half of the 1800s, particularly during the Victorian era. The trend was not limited to the UK, though. As we all know, President Abraham Lincoln was also a big fan of this stovepipe style hat,
Yes.
and he helped make it popular in America. Back in England, Prince Albert adopted the top hat and it became a mark of a gentleman.
Oh my God,
So during
really?
the, yeah.
Okay.
So during the later half of the 1800s, the height was reduced a bit and a sleek ribbon was added to the bottom of the cylinder. The best hats worn by those in the upper classes were made from felted beaver fur. Rabbit hair was sometimes used as well. Silk, linen, and flannel were also used, especially as the trend spread to the lower classes because that's what they could afford.
Sure.
When producing a top hat, a milliner would use a mixture to separate the fur from the skin and that kept the hair together.
Okay.
The mixture was orange. The process was called carroting, and the mixture contained mercur- mercuric nitrate, i.e., mercury. Then the fur could be molded into the shape of a hat or the brim.
Oh,
Since
okay.
the effects of mercury poisoning were unknown, these milliners would oftentimes work in enclosed spaces and they didn't wear protective equipment. There is evidence that the creation of the hats was affecting them, evidenced by the use of the phrase "mad as a hatter."
Okay.
Um, but the practice continued for way too long. Different methods for separating the animal fur from the skin became popular by the late 1800s, and legal regulations were introduced in France in 1898 to ban the use of mercury in hat making. However, in the United States,
We
they
didn't
still
give a
used it
fuck.
until
Yeah.
1941.
We
We
didn't give
never
a
gonna give a fuck.
we don't give a fuck.
So, yeah, the trend continues.
Until
Um,
1941, you said?
yeah, so they were using it until the 40s.
Jesus.
Um,
Okay.
so, mercury poisoning has a long list of symptoms. So, hair loss, tooth and nail loss, muscle spasms, drooling, slurred speech, unfocused thoughts and speech, depression and suicidal thoughts, insomnia, irritability, loss of memory, fatigue, hallucinations, skin discoloration, increased heart rate, rashes, sensitivity to light, kidney problems, and trembling hands. Hold on.
Literally everything that could go wrong with you was attributed to this.
Basically.
Okay.
Um, so, Danbury, Connecticut was during the 1800s the hat making capital of the world, and it
Okay.
produced 5 million hats in 1 year at the peak of the trend.
Damn. And
So,
this
the
is still the
trembling hands,
stovepipe hat.
yeah, the tall hats.
Okay.
So, the trembling hands became known as the Danbury Shakes since so many people in the area had been poisoned because they were all hat makers.
Okay. So wait a minute. Like, okay, so the hat makers were getting poisoned. What about the people wearing the hats?
No, it was just because the process that they used to separate the fur, but to keep it together so that they could mold it, had mercury in it.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to. If it did leak, it wasn't like significant, or else we would have, I'm sure, heard about how many
Oh,
people were going
right.
crazy.
Yeah.
So the earliest mention of a Mad Hatter appears to refer to one Robert Crabb. He's a 17th century eccentric living in Chesham, England. He gave all his goods to the poor and lived on dock leaves and grass. Carroll, however, seems to have based his Mad Hatter not on Robert Crabb, but on a certain um, Theo Carter, who was not a hatter but a furniture dealer who was known locally as the Mad Hatter, partly because he always wore a top hat and partly because he was quite an eccentric and produced some wacky inventions. So, researchers have also suggested that Boston Corbett, a hat industry worker who killed John Wilkes Booth, President Lincoln's assassin,
Yeah.
might have suffered from poor mental health due to mercury poisoning. Corbett, who'd been employed as a hat maker since he was a young man, he became a religious zealot, and in 1858 he castrated himself with a pair of scissors as a way to curb um, his wantings. He went on to serve
Oh
in the
my
Union
god.
Army. Yeah, that's just where it starts. Then he goes to the army
Oh, it
during
gets
the Civil
worse.
War.
Great.
Yeah, and after Lincoln was shot by Booth, um, Corbett and his regiment were sent to track down Booth. So on April 26th, the soldiers surrounded Booth in a barn. However, Corbett disobeyed orders to capture him alive and instead shot and killed him. Corbett was cleared of blame by the military and lauded by many in the public as a hero for his role in avenging the president's death.
I mean,
Eventually, he resumed working in the hat industry in the Northeast before moving to Kansas in 1878, where he lived a solitary existence as a homesteader. In 1887, he landed in a mental asylum after threatening a group of people at the Kansas State House with a gun. The following year, this possible Mad Hatter, who was in his 50s, escaped the facility and disappeared for good. So this is the original bit of where the phrase Mad Hatter came from, and some of the more interesting tales of Mad Hatters.
right. Holy shit.
It's
I love it.
interesting, I think.
I love it. That is
Yeah.
so interesting. It reminds me of the episode that My Favorite Murder did on the green dye. Did you listen to that one? That
The watches. Are you talking about the ladies that did the watches that would glow? Glue.
no. It was the actual
Oh,
like the
okay.
dye they would dye the like dresses and hats in this green
Oh,
dye.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it reminds me of that. That's why I was like, oh shit. Okay, so the workers were getting sick, but what about the people wearing the hats? So I guess there's like a shelf life to it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so it wasn't like that green paint that it was Victorian times, right? That would
Right. Get on
kind
their
of rub
skin.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would get in your skin, and like people were using it even for wallpaper for like everything that color. So
Right.
yeah, it was like infecting everything. No,
It wasn't like
it's
that. Okay.
just yeah, as they pull it apart, it doesn't seem to stay and like leak out.
That is so fascinating. Holy crap. That's a great story. Good job. I loved it. That was really good. Yay.
Thank you. I'm
Yay.
always just here to entertain you.
I mean, that's kind of the purpose of the
It's my
show.
goal,
That's the purpose of the
right?
show.
We just entertain
Yeah.
each other.
We just entertain
Really,
each
that's
other and hopefully some listeners. And yeah, good job. All right. That's your Monday morning story, guys.
it is.
Literally starting it off right and weird. People call you crazy, just tell them you make hats.
Right.
I like it. I was listening to it and I'm like, this is crazy. How am I going to do the show notes about this? Like, how am I going to write the show notes for this one? Wow. Okay. Good job. I love it. Yay.
Oh, great. Well, we hope you all have a great week.
Yes. Have a wonderful
And
week. And we will be back with another weird story next Monday morning. I'm up and I like this one. It's pretty cool. To that end, Laura, as we say here, stay safe out there because you never know who
or what?
is listening or making weird hats with Mercury.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that
Who's
that's not
playing in the
happening.
Mercury?
Who's playing in the Mercury? I'm pretty sure that's not happening anymore. Also, by the way, anybody who wants to know, Mercury in vaccines does not cause autism. Also, it's no longer in vaccines, but it never caused autism. And I am an expert on that. So if you have any questions, please email me. hohpodcast@gmail.com. Anyway, bye guys. We love you.
Bye. Thanks.